Hi, it's day 14 of my 31-day challenge, and the question today said to look up on Google and to find a list of skills on Google. And so I did, and it came up where, like, if you're looking for a job, so it gave this long list of skills. And what they want me to do with that list of skills from Google, okay, it has to be on Google, find a list of skills on Google which describe you. So I went through all their skills, and I mean, I was in the workforce for a long time, and I was a professional, and so I have a lot of the skills that were listed on the document that you would need if you were going into a job interview or if you were looking for a specific job. So it asked which skills describe me. Well, so here goes. Here goes. We'll see. So the list of skills, okay, the useful skills. Communication. It talks about public speaking, active listening, verbal and non-verbal communication, written communication, friendliness, and empathy. And that's all under the guise of communication. Sorry. Anyhow, so public speaking, I did public speaking. And the reason why I did is because I used to have to do meetings at the local Chamber of Commerce where I worked. And I used to have to actually solicit clients for my agency. I also had to, I chaired a couple of meetings with the Chamber of Commerce that I worked with. So active listening, you have to know what your clients require. Now, I worked as a program developer. So I was developing the outlets and the worker base. Like, I was actually finding the professionals to send out to these clients. So of course I had to have very good active listening skills. I had to be able to kind of hear their story, the client story or the agency story, and find out what exactly that they were looking for. So yeah, that takes quite an element of active listening, being able to see what people actually need. Verbal and non-verbal communication, it had to be good. It had to be excellent, actually, bordering on excellent anyway, because you can't go into a meeting or a conversation without being able to pick up on either spoken or unspoken cues from the people that you're working with. Written communication, I was all through my school years and right up into my adult years, and even now to this day, I'm very cautious with written statements. Anything that I write, I'm cautious with literacy, with spelling, with using the right terminology for the right situation. Especially when you're working in a field where you're doing a lot of typing, because I basically ran the office. But I also had to communicate with the clients, and I had to communicate with peers, and I had to communicate. There was a lot of back and forth going on, especially between agencies. So I would contact the agency, I would find out what they need, I would set up a meeting, find people who were advertised for those people, find out what their skill set was, and put them in the appropriate situation, the appropriate job. Okay, so friendliness. I think I'm friendly. Empathy, definitely in my field, because I worked with, a few different jobs. I worked with physically and mentally and all the disabled. I worked with the disabled. So I worked with people who were physically challenged, mentally challenged, and I would even say financially challenged, because I would have to find avenues for them to utilize, and I would encourage them. And if it wasn't through my own agency, it would be I could recommend them to an agency that could fulfill their needs. So yeah, you had to have a high amount of empathy. You had to be able to put yourself in that person's shoes, right? And to know basically what they need. Okay, so problem solving. I think. Now, don't forget, these are a list of skills from Google that they want me to correlate to what I am or what I think I'm like, right? So, problem solving. I'm a single woman. I'm a senior. I've been, I've been through those struggles. So, I know how to problem solve. I know how to find the resources that I need in order to survive. And you know what? I've been doing it. Organization. You don't get to be 63 years old, trust me, without having some form of organization, especially when you've traveled for work. I mean, I went right across the country. Where I am in Canada, I went right across the country to British Columbia to work. And, I got off the plane. I had a job right off the plane. So, yeah, you have to be organized. You have to be organized. I had to basically make it from point A to point B to point C, and all those things in between. So, yes, of course, I'm organized. Leadership and time management. Yeah, I have those things. Time management, how do you run an office without time management? I had to correlate jobs, and I had to correlate workers, and I had to, make it to business meetings, make it to Chamber of Commerce meetings. I had to set up all sorts of activities within the office itself. So yeah, leadership and time management, definitely I had. Creativity. So I actually started and ran my own business, which was a physical fitness center for the handicapped. Anybody who was impaired mobility, so special challenges, quadriplegics, paraplegics, even people who were, I had truck drivers who would drive for hours and hours and hours, and they would get back and they would have sore backs. And so I set up a business based on that, but I utilized machines that were not mainstream used in that business. So I utilized machines that were normally used for fitness centers, and they're called passive exercise equipment. So you would lay on the bed, and the bed would actually do the motions for you, but any type of movement is going to give you back a sense of that mobility, but it's going to train your body. It's going to help your body to relearn those skills, and that's what I used it for. Okay, so critical thinking. Yes, I do have critical thinking. Attention to detail. Yeah. Basically, in the fields that I had been in, and I've been in quite a few. I mean, I have a varied background. Ex-military. I was in electronics. So I have that type of work experience. So critical thinking, you need that in electronics. Attention to detail, you need that in that field, right? I was a heavy equipment operator in my 20s. And I was one of the first heavy equipment operators on one of the bases that I thrived on. So once again, critical thinking, attention to detail, teamwork. I was, when I was a heavy equipment operator, it was part of the course. It was an MSc Op 935 course in the military, but part of that course was learning how to operate heavy equipment. I've operated snowplows. I've operated graders. I've operated loaders. I've loaded 5-ton trucks. So do you know what I'm saying? You need to have that critical thinking. You need to be attentive to details in those type of fields. And once again, it was a male-dominated trade, so I was perfectly willing to go up against the mainstay. And back in those days, when I was in the military in the 70s and 80s, the focus was not on women to become heavy equipment operators. In fact, I signed up for the airborne. And just when they started to accept women in the field, that's around the time that I had taken my release from the military, and I did get married. So, and I married, someone who wasn't in that lifestyle. And so that's how it went. But yes, so I needed teamwork. That was a definite. I mean, any type of group activity that you're doing, you're going to require teamwork. And I definitely had that. So there's two skill sets. There's a hard set of skills and there's a soft set of skills. So the hard set of skills is basically technological type skills, okay? Statistical things. Like I'll give you an example. So it says here statistical analysis, search engine optimization. They're just fancy words for, being able to actually go online and find the things that you need. So knowing what you need is a basic concept. You need to know what you're looking for. And in my field, I needed to know that. So I needed those type of technical skills. I needed to be able to use the internet to search for certain criteria, certain information, okay? Or to even just send an email, you need computer skills. You need those type of things. So that would be part of the hard skills that I used to optimize my job experience and my results. So marketing, bookkeeping. When I had my own business, I had to do my own bookkeeping. So I basically needed to have bookkeeping skills and marketing skills because I did run my own business. And part of that process is you pay your taxes. There are all sorts of little added things that you got to pay attention to, right? And so that's where those skills came in handy. Programming, I was a program developer. So I would develop programs. I would develop areas that my clients or the agencies that they needed, right? So fitness programs, things like that, rehabilitation things, right? And languages. Well, languages, okay. Well, languages. I do speak, I'm English speaking, but I do have French. So I didn't really have to utilize that a lot back in the day in the 70s and 80s. Now I think, moreover, if you were in the military, I think they make you take a French course. But even in my other jobs, I didn't really utilize a second language. I didn't have to. There were people that did, and we had people who would be in charge of that area, right? So, but I do have French language skills. Okay, so then there's the other side of that coin, which is the soft skills. And the soft skills are basically habits that determine how effectively you work on your own and with others. And so those are transferable traits, okay? Those are traits that you can use in different circumstances, like critical thinking and creativity. When I first started working, I had certain skills that I had used my whole life. I mean, I was always creative. I was always delving into research. So those type of things. So I did have those soft skills, okay? But I had to focus on them. I had to focus on the details of those. So even though I was used to doing research online or at the library, I mean, back in the day, we didn't really have access to the computers as we do now. So I would have to learn how to use a computer. So what did I do? I took a computer course. I took a business course. And I took all these courses prior to entering a professional field. Like when I was, back in the day, I think I was only 13. Yeah, 13. And I was bundling newspapers for a local newspaper in my hometown. And I think I was 13. I'm not even sure, but it wasn't like now where I think you have to be 16 to get a job or to actually put your name into that situation. So I think there's a certain age limit. Back in those days, I was 13 and I was working at paper bundling. So that has to be, you have to put people's addresses. You have to make sure the addresses are correct. So there was a lot of skills that I learned along the way. And so the skills that I have now have been added to. through my careers, and I've had many different careers. So I personally think that having all those skills and having quite a few jobs, and it was hard to get contracts, and a lot of the contracts were short term in my era. I wasn't one of the lucky ones. I didn't pick, I wasn't able to pick a field that had a lot of longevity, so I didn't get, pension plans and things like that. I mean, I was military, but I got out prior to being able to accommodate a lifelong career in the military. I got out. I got married. I raised my children. It's all part of the process, and everything happens for a reason. So, but the skills that I learned in the military, I carried with me all through those years of raising my children. And, I raised my kids on my own, so those skills came in handy. Try raising 3 kids on your own. Try paying the bills and the rent and finding the jobs and making sure that they're going to good schools and they're getting the opportunities that they need. That takes a lot of balls. So it takes a lot of guts, takes a lot of determination, a lot of these skills that you put into a job, you also put those into raising children. So try raising children and having a job and actually having a life. So those 3 things combined, I had to organize my time. If I didn't, my kids, I had a daughter that went to study in France. I have a daughter that has traveled the world. I have a son that excelled in pole vaulting. So those type of skills, if I had just kind of sequestered my kids and I wasn't able to organize my life, I wasn't able to organize my finances or find a place to live that was viable for them to get those opportunities, they might not have achieved the things that they achieved. Now, I'm not taking credit for their laurels. I'm not. But what I'm saying is, I did what I needed to do to provide them with those opportunities so they could show their skills, so they could achieve, so they could, sit on that victor or have that victor's crown. So I did what I had to do to accommodate the need that they had to excel in their lives. And they did. They made me so proud. I'm so proud of my children for all the things that they have achieved. And hopefully they know that. And if they don't, they'll see this video and they will. But I would wish anyone who's out there and just starting out in the workforce, right? Look at the skills that you already have, that you already bring with you as you're starting that journey into working and paying taxes and the whole gamut, right? So look at the skills you already have and build on those skills. Be proud of who you are. Be confident. Stand up in your own strength, okay? Because there's nothing that you can't achieve if you don't put your mind to it. If you put your mind to it, honey, you can achieve anything you want. Put your mind to it. You want love? Put your mind to it. You want the perfect relationship? Put some effort into it. You want the perfect job? Get some experience. Get some education. Get what you need in order to go down that road. Right? So if you know what type of field you want to get into and you know the skills that they need, and if you don't, look it up, research it, do the Google search like I did, and then take those skills and find out what courses you can take to accommodate those skills prior to starting that job. What you need in this world nowadays is you need something a little extra. And that's why when you're doing a resume, you don't just focus on your technical skills. You need to focus on your soft skills. You need to focus on your personality. You need to focus on your perseverance, your determination, your loyalty, those type of things. They also want to hear about that. They don't just want to hear technical skills. They want a list of them. And trust me, they do. They do. So, look at all your skills. Don't just look at your technical skills, okay? And good luck to you if you're just joining the workforce. I am pretty close to the end of my journey, and so I wish you well on yours, and I hope that your career and your future is successful and fulfilling, and I only wish the best for you. So take care, and I shall see you on day 14 of my 31-day challenge. The good Lord be willing.